So this story is about really the criminalization of journalism in Azerbaijan, which I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it is a country in Eastern Europe that borders Iran and the Middle East. So the idea here is that this particular government has decided to crack down on independent media, and they essentially make it illegal. They made it illegal to essentially operate as a journalist. That's not like one, and that's not one of these like pro-government organizations. It's crazy, but I mean the journalists, they are making it hard for the government to just do dirtbag stuff with their dirtbag friends, like. And there's a woman named Fatima Movlamli. I'm probably saying that wrong, but she has essentially been an exceptional thorn inside of this government in particular. And when you look at her, it's just like she's like giving us some kind of interview or some kind of like not interview, but she's like recording herself before she goes to jail. And I mean, she's just smiling, and it's just like, yeah, this is how it goes, and we're gonna, like, when I get out, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna keep exposing these corrupt dirtbags. And it's so funny. Like, I think, like, I imagine the government like just seeing her post this video and just thinking this angel-faced monster is really just gonna tear us down. And I feel like that's it. That's exactly what we're looking at here, because a lot of these guys they're going to prison, and it's not like they're going to prison with smiles on their faces. And I think as an authoritarian regime, you couldn't, like, there could be nothing more terrible or nothing more terrifying than seeing that, And she has a video on this article, and it's in another language. I can't speak, but it is apparently a powerful message to the dictator, right? And I can't hammer this enough. Like, it's really inspirational to see, like, just her able to, like, keep good spirits under pressure in general, though, right? Because it kind of, like, seeing the video, even though I don't understand it, but it's nice. The government, in terms of how they're actually, quote unquote, legally able to be jailed, the government is essentially just trumping up cases of financial wrongdoing or smuggling in a lot of cases. And the idea here is that these guys are just getting money illegally to fund their journalism. And I'm just like, okay. But this is really funny because the dictator has been exposed by the journalists he's jailing for smuggling money. And it's crazy to see that. But these governments, which is kind of speaks to, I think, in the beginning of this particular, this particular sermon, kind of like cats and venom for the independent media. And I think this really does speak to that in terms of, like, just being just complete embarrassing people and fools and just disgusting people in general, right? They're having, like, pro-government media outlets repeat the propaganda that criminalizes these journalists. These outlets are doing things like basically doxing the journalists, they're leaking private texts, and they're making up things, right? It's what they're doing, how they're kind of aiding the government is, I mean, I don't know how corroded you need to be as a person to do and take part in this particular government, but the journalists in these cases or quote unquote the journalists and the reporters in these cases are very much complicit, right? They're a part of the regime, and this is going back to that beginning of our segment. That these quote unquote independent media, they need to be treated as a part of this regime too. That needs to be a thing. That honestly does need to be a thing, because the level of audience capture is breathtaking. If these guys aren't outright being paid by the administration or by people and friends of the administration. This idea of also like what this control, this crackdown that's happening with this country, they're also essentially just taking out just media outlets in general. So they're making it illegal to do journalism, and but they're also kind of trying to black out and keep out other outside information from coming in. So this is the West, but also from Russia as well. So these guys are kind of trying to create this blacked out environment here, and I wish them the worst. I wish them the absolute worst. I don't think this person has anything good in mind for anybody other than himself and his friends. And in terms of with us particularly, in terms of how there's a actual connection from the U.S. in this story, the defunding of foreign aid, which I have suspicions about in terms of how that or why that kind of took place the way it did. It's defunding the actual outlets in a lot of cases, because they relied on foreign aid in a lot of situations, and the defunding has crippled a lot of these people, and in terms of actually like finances that are valuable, and particularly just exposing this particular regime. The suspicion I have, I'm gonna like just put it out there a little bit. The idea here is like Elon knows that a lot of this stuff goes to the people that would very much expose how a lot of things are done outside of America and how he benefits from that. And it does seem like he wants to make sure that he does what he can to essentially avoid accountability. I don't even know if that's even like a hot take, but that's the idea here. This particular story and idea, I want to say, is something that should be really taken as a warning, right? Because this Trump administration is expanding the whole brick and mortar prison capabilities, and at the same time questioning the legality of media outlets that are critical of him. And I mean, I think I wouldn't underestimate what he would do to distract the rest of the world from the Epstein list. We need to understand that he could turn the gas up very, to basically max out that rev when we talk about distracting people from really this idea. And I don't think it'd work, but I do think that people would take advantage of it, because people forget that this idea, like Epstein, was a bipartisan secret. It wasn't like a one-sided secret. And there are powerful people who do like they will do unimaginable things to make sure that that list doesn't come out. And it's important that we realize that this administration, as incompetent as a lot of these guys are, they may have very competent help somewhere, somehow, right? And I mean, of course, I think Palantir is a great example of that, but also other people that are kind of in the shadows that we still don't know about. And in terms of this renaissance, this idea, we should understand that centralization of media is a problem. It's a very real problem. Our EPA segment in episode 5 of the Renaissance Sermon, we talked about the importance of independent media and how and the role they played in letting a town know that their water was poisoned. If that news outlet was close to, let's say, a morally corrupt politician, kind of like a lot of these clowns today, they're claiming that they're truth tellers, that town may have not gotten the news, right? And it could have cost people their lives. And that's why I think we need to go ahead and treat these people as they are part of the regime when they decide to give in to audience capture to the level that they have. And at the very least, we need to publicly shame them. But I mean, this is absolutely insane. But we do have people who are actually fighting, who are actually doing things, which is honestly great, even in just some of the worst or really horrific environments in general.